Ask and you shall receive. I had a comment asking about some more affordable real estate.
Okay, absolutely. So yeah, we'll talk today. We're going to talk about some affordable options from Bradenton down to Venice.
Stay tuned. All right, what you got?
Okay, so I've got a couple of options here. So we get this this question a lot, and sometimes I'm on desk, sometimes people will call me. It's always look, I'm a middle class guy. I'm waiting tables, or I'm doing a middle class job. I cannot afford a $2 million home out on the beach. And there's nothing wrong with that. Quite frankly, I think that Sarasota's got a big problem right now with finding affordable housing for middle class families. It's really tough. In the neighborhoods that we're going to talk about today, if you were to go back 5 years ago, these places were all $160,000, $170,000, $180,000.
How many of those would you want to buy up?
I know, but and there is nothing like that now. You're going to notice, the couple properties we're going to talk about today, they start in the 400 range. And that's as affordable as it gets, even in Bradenton now. I used to always say, and I still say to people all the time now, that most of your service industry people are commuting in from Bradenton, Northport, and Venice into Sarasota to work. Now, Bradenton is $400,000.
I know.
Venice is $400,000. Northport is a little bit less, but not much. It's not much less.
I do remember back in the day selling 100, 200, 250 single family homes.
Right.
But that is just no more. I mean, when we have these conversations, they're
right.
kind of tough sometimes.
They're
because
difficult.
literally have to say either we could put you in a condo, or it just doesn't exist, or it's way further out.
Well, and even a condo is tough now because my wife and I own this little condo that's in Las Palmas. It's probably worth $225,000. We've had it for 18 years. It was a rental unit for us. But on that unit, the HOAs are getting ready to go up to $500 or $600 a month.
Issue.
So you're like, okay, well, I can go buy a house for $350,000, or I can go buy a $250,000 condo. I'm going to have to pay the same amount of money.
Exactly.
By the time I pay the HOA, it's going to be the same amount of money. I might as well go buy a single family home. But there aren't a lot of single family homes for $350,000. So it really is squeezing a lot of the middle class out of Sarasota. I mean, it really is. I mean, there really are not a lot of affordable options if you're looking for just a normal house.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, in Sarasota, I tend to push my investors into the Gulfgate, Southgate area, and I tend to push my my middle income, middle class families into Southgate and Gulfgate, because to me, it's the most bang for your buck. It's the most affordable housing. You can still find houses that are in the $400 to $450, $475 range. One of which you bought recently. So, but I say that it truly is an opportunity that if you're looking, these are the areas that we are kind of suggesting that you look. So, Gulfgate, Southgate.
Let's go.
Right now, the best house I could find here, this is just my opinion, obviously. Okay. So, the best house I could find is 2632 Dueby. Dueby Street. Oh. Yeah, that's interesting.
Dueby.
So it's 1,196 square feet. Really well renovated. I did look at the photos.
It looks cute.
It's really well renovated, and it has a pool, and the backyard is fenced in.
1,196 square feet for $449.
For $449,000.
Does it have a pool?
It does have a pool, and so all of these houses, that is one of the requirements I put on this to try to keep it sort of consistent. I put single family homes, at least 2 bedrooms, at least 2 bathrooms, and a pool. So
so you're getting a pool with it.
You're getting a pool with it.
Now, if you take that pool out, it will dramatically increase your options. The pool factor really, really limits you, especially under 500.
Well, let me say this too. When I did it for Venice, or when I did it for Sarasota, there were 5 houses. 5 houses that were under $450 or $475 that had a pool. In Venice and Bradenton, you had a lot more options. Yep. Obviously, your money is going to go a lot further
out. And and let's tell people why that is.
So as you get further away from Sarasota, the bulk of, yes, there is shopping and restaurants, and there are all these amenities in Venice and Bradenton, but not as many as there are here in Sarasota.
And it's sort of like the epicenter.
It's very beautiful, but from Tampa to Fort Myers, we're sort of
We're in the middle.
We're right in the middle, and you're about an hour up to Tampa. You're a little bit more than an hour down to Fort Myers. But most people, generally speaking, want to be in Sarasota, closer to Siesta Key Beach, want to be closer to the boating, and yes, they have all those things in Venice, and they have those things in Bradenton as well.
Listen, and that's why we're going over this, because if you want to get here, all of the places that we're talking about
Sure.
are very, an easy drive.
Well, and one of the things that that's interesting is the last property, or one of the last properties we're going to talk about, is actually a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. But it's in Bradenton. It's not in Sarasota, and it's not in Venice.
Is it a good area? Now, this is the thing this is just my personal take on Bradenton. There's more areas that you should steer away from than there are compared to Sarasota.
Sure.
Generally speaking, as with the local areas here closer to the water and out east or east of the interstate are good.
Right.
It's sort of like that in-between area that you're going to have to do drive-bys, or I can drive by,
Sure.
or you could drive by,
Sure.
we can FaceTime. But those are the ones that I'm always kind of like, it really, really depends.
It's hit or miss.
It really depends.
But there really is just one kind of area that you'd want to avoid here in Sarasota. In Bradenton, it's much more spotty.
Yeah.
Like, and when I say spotty, you can go from the waterfront homes that are on the Manatee River and go 1.5 miles or 2 miles away, and you are in a really bad neighborhood.
And it changes quickly. That's why it's
Right.
like it depends
Right.
on west or east, and then also what street you're on.
Sure. Sure. So that's the first one. Now, you're going to notice we jumped right down to Venice. The next one is 1119 North Cypress Point Drive.
That's where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up down in Venice. Built in 1981, $430,000.
Ooh.
It's a 3-2 with 1,543 square feet, so it's a little bit larger.
See the difference?
Yeah, you're picking up some more square footage. It's a decent sized lot. It's you have quite a bit there.
And these are properties like probably with one or at least one car garage, right?
Yep.
2-car garage.
Yeah, 2-car garage.
Nice little lot there.
Beautiful little pool.
Open pool.
So you can look that up on Realtor.com or Zillow. We can send it to you.
We'll show you in the video.
Yeah, we'll send it to you. The next one is up in Palmetto. So again, you get up to Bradenton, you get out to Palmetto, you're going to get a lot more house.
Well, I'm about to close. I think by the time we post this, it's okay to say the price.
Okay.
If not, I'll edit it. Palmetto, Ellington,
right?
Sort of in that same
area,
north of Bradenton,
right?
4-bedroom, 3-bath,
right?
2005 built with a pool, 2-car garage,
had hurricane windows.
$430,000 sales price
with a pool and hurricane windows. Decent sized lot. Really private. It was really clean house.
That same property here in Sarasota, but easily like 625.
At least.
It's just, and it's what, like a 30-minute drive north.
30-minute drive.
30-minute drive. Okay.
So that's a good example of up in Bradenton.
Palmetto.
Here's another one in Palmetto.
Mm-hmm.
This is on 2249 17th Street, West Palmetto. It's 1,476 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Built in 1977, a little bit older, but when I pulled up the photos of it, the whole inside had been renovated.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I stand by this because I like the mid-century and the 1970s homes because they've stood the test of time. And of course, you have to do a roof and AC and maybe the windows here and there, whatever. But the street that we're on is a really good example. Like this house behind us of that era.
Right.
And I mean, concrete block. I mean, they didn't really build a lot. I mean,
concrete block. You don't have to worry about a hurricane. You don't have to worry about, you do have to worry about your roof, of course, but you do on every house. But something that's interesting here though, like I noticed all the appliances were new, all the countertops were new, it was freshly painted. When I see all the floors were new, when I see that, it screams it was a flip. Like to me, so it wouldn't shock me if this is a flip.
Yeah.
Somebody bought it, it was a really in bad condition, bought it for a really great price, renovated it and is flipping it and making some money.
It's funny. You and I can both tell right when I walk into property.
Yep.
I can tell because they usually cheap out on like the quality. If you look closely enough, you know what to look for. But
or it's the same standard,
same
selection. It's always the agreeable gray paint. It's always the.
I have that in my house.
Luxury laminate. Well, so do we. We do too. I mean,
it's
always the luxury laminate flooring, but it's it's not the ultra high end luxury laminate. It's just kind of the basic luxury laminate. They usually put quartz in, but it's usually kind of the lower end of the quartz. So you can kind of tell when you walk in.
Stuff.
Okay, and then the last one is 1417 50th Avenue Drive, West Palmetto. This one's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath.
Woo!
Over 2,000 square feet, 2,002 square feet.
Built in 81.
Built in 81. Huge pool. Renovations inside, it was painted really dark color, so it needs to be painted probably on the inside. The floors looked great. But it has a ton of space at that, and at the price, you know, now it's $499, but it had a huge pool and a huge lot. So the thing about it is that truly, if you want to be in Sarasota, you're going to give up on size. You're going to give up on renovations. You're going to give up on even somewhat a little bit of the location, because you're not going to be, you know, under $499 or under $500,000 out towards Siesta Key or out towards Longboat Key. That's not going to happen. But if you're willing to go a little bit further out and stretch up to Bradenton or down to Venice or even Northport, yes, you'll be driving, but not as much as you used to. Like when I grew up, we had to come to Sarasota every time we wanted to buy clothes or every time we wanted to buy, you know, yes, they always had Publix and grocery stores, but like if you wanted to shop for anything more than really groceries, and it used to be just sort of, you know, chain restaurants and then a couple of mom and pops. They really have, I mean, Venice has great restaurants. There's a ton of stuff there. And Northport does too. I mean, especially with Welland Park and Northport, they've really come a long way. I mean, you got to remember, you know, I'm dating myself here, but I graduated in 93. Northport didn't have schools.
No schools at all?
There was, everybody came to Venice. They all drove from Northport up to Venice. They have their own high school. They have their own schools down there. So it's very different, and they really have grown the community, and they have their own resources. So it's not like you're going to be driving every day to Sarasota, but
the amenities are here.
But the amenities, there is more shopping here. There are more amenities here. And generally speaking, in the area, people are trying to be in Sarasota, but there's a price to pay for it.
Right.
You are going to pay to do that.
And I think the north prices being a little bit lesser makes sense because it's harder to get to a beach.
Right.
I guess the closest beach from Palmetto, Ellington would be Anna Maria Island, Holmes Beach, Cortez up that way.
Right.
And then Venice they've got their own
ton of beach. They have Venice Beach, they have the North Jetty, Nokomis, right.
Yeah, so it depends. I mean, it's great if you want an entry into the Sarasota market, if you don't know that you want to live here full time or you want to have a second home. Like, we deal with a lot of retirees and snowbirds, and we love you and thank you. And so these are great entry-level properties. I hate to even say entry-level anymore because they're not.
Seems like a really high price point for entry-level.
Chump change.
Right.
So if you're in that under 500, I mean, there are going to be more options with condo. But like what you said, we weren't really going to compare to condos in this video, but
I just want to kind of keep it standard so that you're kind of comparing apples to apples on all of them. But there's no question that if you go further out and you're willing to, you know, and a lot of people do this, they go further out and commute into work because they make more money if they're working in Sarasota, and then they just commute home. It's a little bit foreign to people here because, you know, in Chicago, it was from my house to O'Hare Airport, it was 12 miles, but it isn't, you know, on a bad timing, it could be an hour and a half.
I was going to say,
it could be an hour and a half drive.
12 minutes.
It's not 12 minutes. It could easily be an hour and a half.
I remember too, like when I first moved here in 2002 and I said everything is 15 minutes away.
Right.
Well, now because it's sprawled out so much and it's grown so much and people learned about Sarasota so much in Longboat Key and all the islands that I would say like at least 30 minutes to get 20 minutes,
during
25 minutes.
It depends on if it's season or not too. Right now during season, it takes me forever to get all the way out to our office. But out of season, I can be out there in 20, 25 minutes easily, like no problem.
And once you live here or own here, you get to know the patterns and you get to understand when you should leave or when you should wait a little bit. If it's clearly commuting hours or school hours and you can avoid that for certain streets, you're going to do that. Right. So,
but that's I think that's a good conversation to have about entry-level homes. I mean, I think that unfortunately Sarasota is really had an explosion of population and people wanting to be here, which has really squeezed people out and it's made it tough. I tell people, I was talking to my parents last week and said, look, next time you go to a restaurant, count up how many tables that waiter or waitress has.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's 12, 14, 15 tables. There's no way they can afford, it's no way they can give great service but the reality is they can't find anybody else to wait the tables.
And the deal is, if it's out there, we will try to find it for you. But there are points in time over the last months and years that I've had the hard conversations that what you're looking for may not actually exist.
Exists,
I
right.
mean, I did have to tell someone that the other day. This person was looking for a home or tear down or vacant lot in the city of Sarasota within the city boundaries for up to 200,000. And I said,
yeah,
I'm not. It's hard because I don't want to ever really say that, but it literally doesn't exist
right.
that I could find.
Right.
And so he's like, well, I'll keep looking. And I'm like,
okay.
Unless prices go down dramatically,
right.
It doesn't exist.
Right.
It's not for lack of effort. I mean, it doesn't matter the price. I sold a vacant lot this year for $200,000.
Yeah,
it was not in the city of Sarasota.
But yeah, but I've had people call me up and say, you know, we'll take a really small condo out on Longboat or Siesta Key under $250,000, and I'm like, that's just.
Are we in
10 years ago, maybe?
2015?
10 years ago, maybe, but not now. There's just no way.
It just is what it is. Everything's gone up, you know?
Like, everybody around the country, if they see this video, they're going to be like, what are these guys talking about? Like, prices have come down. They really haven't here. So in Sarasota.
We're watching it. By the way, we're almost at the end of December as we film this, 2023.
Prices really have, it's taken a little bit longer for homes to sell. Prices have not come down.
I think when you see prices going down here, it's because a seller priced it
too high
based in the 2020 market, and thinking from 2020 to now, it went up 3 times. It has not. So if you bought a house in like 2019 to now, then it may have doubled, but it depends on when you bought and kind of what the expectation is going into it. If you bought even a year ago and you're expecting to flip it and make a killing,
you're not going to. It's something we always try to keep an eye on is, so when we run into people that are like, hey, look, you know, I can't afford a really expensive house.
And don't ever become house poor. It's the worst feeling.
You don't want to do that.
I've felt that before, and it's definitely not what you want. And I would never, we would never steer you that direction.
No. I mean, we would prefer that, you know, we can find you great options down in Venice and up in Bradenton, and that where you're not in that situation.
And you know, if it doesn't exist on the market, one of the things that you and I do is we door knock.
We will.
We're not like, we're very old school on certain things, and we're high up on technology, but door knocking is a thing that we do.
Sure.
We do it regularly, and if we have a serious person looking to
be
buy,
serious.
We would door knock this whole neighborhood to get the right property for you.
Sure.
So
it's about like, how serious are you? Like, if you say, we're very serious and we're gonna buy, and it's got to be in this neighborhood.
We'll go right now. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll go door knock. If you want to get a hold of me, you can reach me anytime on my cell phone. My cell phone number is 941-586-2460.
And I'm at 941-544-7690. Keep